This is the Savvy Investor radio show and podcast. For help with your retirement, schedule a 15-minute phone conversation with the team at ProStatus Financial Advisors today. Just call 866-597-1040 and at thesavvyinvestorradio.com.
We're all aware, unless you filed an extension, taxes for 2024 in the books, done, perhaps. If you think you have taxes all figured out, I want you to think again. Here's a video from the personal finance channel, Income Parents.
We're taxed on money when we receive it, when we spend it, when we keep it, when we invest it, and even when we die with it. Hold that thought. Our federal tax code is 2,600 pages, 400 pages longer than the unabridged version of the Webster Dictionary. But if you read that tax law cover to cover and you did your taxes solely based on that, you'd probably go to jail. Why? Because that does not include the over 9,000 pages of additional IRS regulations that were never passed into law, but rather written by some bureaucrat sitting in his office that we still have to abide by. Congress never passed that.
Sounds like that would be some good reading if I was struggling to go to bed. How is tax planning in retirement different than tax planning in the working years? Can or should this be a project that you do on your own?
So tax planning in retirement is very different because, during your working years, normally the goal for anybody is I want to pay the least amount of taxes in this current year, right? So I'm saving tax deferred. I'm trying to lower my taxable income. And that's the overall goal. It's least amount of taxes every single year possible. And then the train of thought we've had radio callers call in that they think that they don't have to pay taxes in retirement, right? So it's this weird thought that, now I have Social Security, and I'm just going to draw from my account that I've saved up my entire life into, and then I don't have to pay taxes on it. But what happens is as you've saved pre-tax for this long, so you've amassed this nest egg of money, and then at some point you have to start drawing for it. Sometimes it's earlier than others, just depending on how your income is set up in retirement. But you have to start drawing from it, whether you draw from it to supplement your income or whether the government forces you to draw from it, which is RMDs, or required minimum distributions. And that's at age 73, and for some people at 75. But what happens is you start taking this money out of these IRA accounts or your 401k accounts, and you've saved pre-tax. So the taxes have been deferred on it. And what happens now is you're getting taxed at ordinary income rates on this money that you have to take out. And what people don't realize is now that may bump you up a tax bracket, right? You might get bumped up a tax bracket. It's now making Social Security taxable. It's making all this other income that you have more taxable because you didn't think of it or you didn't properly tax plan ahead of time. So the goal here at ProStatus is we want to take a proactive approach and a strategic approach to tax planning while we're investing, while we're still working, so that later on in life, during our retirement years, we can potentially be at zero taxes, or if taxes do have to go up in the future, which we assume that they do, even if the laws get extended, right? They're only going to be extended for whatever period of time that they're extended for, right? If they're permanent probably till the next administration comes in. But at some point, taxes are going to have to go up. And when they go up, if we've strategically tax planned, right, we don't care at that point, because if you're at zero taxes, we don't care if taxes go up because you're at zero taxes. They can't tax zero, right? Or even if they do tax increases, if we've tax planned appropriately and we've put a strategic plan in place, we're hopefully paying the least amount of taxes possible. But that all starts off with putting a strategic tax plan together that is different from what you've kind of done throughout your working years. So as we're approaching retirement, we really do want to focus on, how do we tax plan with our portfolio and with our retirement assets?
And also tax planning is different for everyone. So we have a lot of callers that call in and they say, I want to do a Roth conversion. Well, we have you come in and we start looking through the numbers. And Roth conversions don't necessarily work for everyone, but that's where the tax planning comes in. You need to come in or go to a financial planner that works with taxes to really do the plan to understand how it may help or negatively affect you. Right now, taxes are on sale, like Lauren said, so you might as well take advantage of it. If you're interested in learning more, please give us a call at 866-597-1040. or visit us at thesavvyinvestorradio.com, where you can click on the tax analysis button on the front page to schedule a 15-minute phone conversation today. Again, that's 866-597-1040, or visit us at thesavvyinvestorradio.com.
866-597-1040. You said, Samantha, that taxes or Roth conversions in taxes may not necessarily be right for everybody out there. People hear the benefits, do the Roth conversion, don't have to pay taxes in the future. That sounds great. sign me up. Let's do everything here. Why? What are situations where a Roth conversion may not necessarily be the right move?
I think really one of the biggest things is going to be age. We have clients that will come in, they may be 70, 75 years old, and they're like, oh, let's do Roth conversions. But really, when you look at the benefit or the time period that it takes to really see the benefit of the conversion, depending on where you pay the taxes from, whether you're doing it out of the conversion or using it with cash, it's about 10, 15 years. So if they're primarily looking at doing a Roth conversion for current benefits, that's probably not the best way of tax planning. However, if their goal is to have a better tax strategy for their beneficiaries or their legacy, all right, well, then let's look at it a little bit differently. Now we have the time to really recoup and see that benefit, especially for their beneficiaries.
It's a situation where it may not necessarily be right for everybody out there, but it's certainly worth taking a look at, and that's what the team at ProStatus Financial can help you with. 866-597-1040. Again, 866-597-1040 or online at thesavvyinvestorradio.com. The government, credit where credit is due. I don't do it that often, but they are very clever about finding ways to implement taxes without necessarily calling them taxes. I remember in 2020, I was visiting my father, and it was he had just turned 70, and his birthday is actually just 2 days ago. So it was right after the April 15th deadline, and the Secure Act was getting ready to get passed. I asked him about RMDs. At the time, it was still 70 and a half. Then they changed it to 72, 73, 75. They are saying, and that was the big talking point of the Secure Act. You don't have to take your RMDs for another, year and a half, 2 years if you're grandfather, if you're qualified for that. But with that, they also, and it was kind of hidden in there, the elimination of the stretch IRA. Let's talk about that from a legacy standpoint and why that could be negating a tax plan, tax strategies could be a time bomb waiting to happen for your beneficiaries.
So I'll take a step back and then I'll let Sam jump in and talk about the stretch IRA. But really, back to what you referenced about the government raising taxes without raising taxes. So when we look at RMDs, again, those required minimum distributions, one of the things they did and how they raise taxes without raising taxes is they keep pushing that age back, right? So they pushed it was 70, then it was 72, now it's 73, and then by 2033 or 35, one of those dates is going to be 75. So what they're doing is you have this large nest egg of money, right? And it's all pre-tax funds, and maybe you need it, maybe you don't need it early on in retirement, but they're pushing back that date with the thought process that account's going to grow and grow and grow, and it's going to be a bigger nest egg.
Right.
Then what happens is the RMD calculation is based on life expectancy. So now they're basing that, now that you're older, you have less time to live. So you have to take a higher percentage out. And now because you're taking a higher percentage out on also a hopefully larger amount of money, that's more taxable income that you're seeing on your tax return. Therefore, you're paying higher taxes, and therefore the government's making more money. So it's a way of them raising taxes without saying they're actually raising taxes. Now, the other aspect of that is now that, your kids inherit the money, right? You've saved all this money. It's still pre-tax. You've taken some withdrawals out, but you don't, in RMDs, but now it's grown and grown, and it's continued to grow, maybe sometimes over 30, 40 years in retirement. Now there's this money that's still pre-tax if you haven't done proper tax planning that the kids have to inherit. Now you've paid taxes on it and you've been paying taxes on it. And now for the right to inherit it, your kids also have to pay taxes on it. And there's two ways they can do it. They can take a lump sum and pay a large tax bill, right? Probably not the smartest thing to do depending on the amount it is, but now they're also able to stretch it out over that 10-year period. Now, when they're stretching it over that 10-year period, normally your kids are in their highest earning years.
That's the kicker.
Yeah, they're in their highest earning years because they're probably in their 50s, 60s, maybe highest earning years. Now they're dumping that money on their tax return as well. So the government is really just double and triple dipping on taxes to get as much out of you as possible, which is why it's so important to give us a call, 866-597-1040, so we can have the discussion and start implementing a tax plan for you. So not only can you save taxes over your lifetime, but then you can also save taxes for your heirs, your kids, your grandkids in their lifetime. So you're keeping as much in your family's pocket as possible and not giving as much to the IRS.
Again, very clever what they're doing. They know what they're doing. 866-597-1040 to reach out to the team at the Savvy Investor Radio. 866-597-1040. Online, thesavvyinvestorradio.com. We all hope that our portfolios grow over time. And I think the government is also banking on that because taxation on a larger balance means that they get more money. It's also the same sort of thing when it comes to just taxes in general. We know things and we hope things. We hope that our portfolios will grow over the next 10, 20, 30 years. Even in the more immediacy. We also, I think, as you said, even if they make the tax rate as it is now, quote unquote, permanent, another administration is going to come along. Who knows what's going to change? So if our portfolio is going to grow, if taxes are going to go up in the future, why wouldn't you at least entertain the possibility of paying as little as possible now on a smaller balance? And correct me if I'm wrong, with the market fluctuation right now in a down market, is that a good or a bad time to entertain the possibility of a Roth conversion?
Really, so it's a good time, right? When we're converting, there's a couple ways you can convert when we're doing conversions. And one of the ways is, we're just journaling over those funds that are in the IRA over to the Roth account. And then we can withhold taxes. And we always have a conversation. We do it on an annual basis as far as how do we want to withhold or pay the taxes on the conversion. But with the advantage of doing it in a down market is because we're journaling those funds when they're low, right? So when they're cheaper, when they're taking on losses. So by journaling them down, now all that growth that it's now in the Roth account, all that growth is now tax-free growth. The goal of a Roth conversion is to move that principal over to a tax-efficient vehicle, pay the taxes up front on it, and then all the growth you see in that account is now tax-free. Kind of referencing back to what Sam said a little bit ago, that's why there's kind of that break-even point depending on how we're withholding taxes, to where we have to see that growth in that account catch up to where we may have been at after paying the taxes. So that's why doing it in a down market, if we experience that growth, now the market's starting to turn up, when it's now a tax efficient vehicle, that's where we can see kind of the advantages of doing, conversions during a down market.
And again, as I mentioned earlier, or to summarize kind of as a whole, probably not something that you want to do on your own because very much measure twice, cut once. Once you write that check to Uncle Sam, as we all know, it doesn't come back, unlike the markets, which will go up and down. There's been a lot of conversation lately about, the wealthy, the uber wealthy, and them paying their fair share in taxes. And here's the thing, is that it's not exclusively that they're paying less in taxes because they're wealthy. They just have access to different strategies. They know, they are in the know. So do what the wealthy do and have a plan to reduce your taxes. Status Financial can help you out with that. If you're 55 or older and you save $500,000 or more, they're going to personally create a custom tax strategy for you, which includes a tax planning and Roth conversion analysis. See if that is in fact right for you and how to be methodical about it. The strategy, again, complimentary for the next Savvy Investor Radio callers, 55 or older, 866-597-1040. Once again, 866-597-1040, or go online to thesavvyinvestorradio.com. Click on the tax analysis button on the front page. Schedule that complimentary 15-minute conversation today. That is thesavvyinvestorradio.com. I want to thank you, as always, for joining us here on the Savvy Investor Radio Show and podcast. Hope you have a great week ahead of you. Stay safe out there. Samantha, Lawrence, appreciate the time, as always. And as we wrap up here, I want to leave you with the final word.
This is Samantha Nash. Thank you for listening to the Savvy Investor Radio Show and podcast.
I'm Lawrence Kiely. We'll see you, the Savvy Investor, next time.
Advisory services offered through ProStatus Financial Advisors Group, a registered investment advisor. Insurance licensed in Maryland. ProStatus Financial Advisors Group, LLC is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if ProStatus Financial Advisors Group is licensed in your state, please call 410-863-1040. ProStatus Group, LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through representatives of ProStatus Financial Advisors Group.